I'm calling these like the perfect prospector, ultimate prospector. I don't know, something like that. And I'll get my original pair of prospectors, which aren't even really prospectors, out to compare here in a minute. But I want to just go over these spec wise. Uh, I think it's pretty obvious, but this is natural Dublin. Uh, Differences from, I guess, my other pair, and then I guess I'll even talk about a regular prospector, but this has a similar, obviously, aesthetic with it being 11067 last and it being with a single piece backstay and with a dogger heel, moderate dogger. But what the difference would be is prospectors have a cut top. This is a rolled top, which I really prefer. And my original natural Dublin pair also has a rolled top, but it has a two-piece backstay and leather soles, a lot of differences. But the Prospector comes on a V-bar. This is a 430. And I didn't say anything to them, but they did it the way I hoped, because I've seen others done this way before, where a 430, to me, if you get it, you should get a 430 heel. And honestly, even a V-bar, they should do the V-bar heel. For whatever reason, they use that quabog a lot. I have problems with that quabog mainly when they sand it down to do the dogger. It ends up being, the bottom has these little pieces that fall off. I did another video on it. You can go check it out. Watch the quabog gate video I did too. But this is, to me, a preferred for a couple reasons. One, so it matches. It's just appropriate. If you have 430 here, you should have 430 here. But the other difference is this is a thicker uh, top lift or whatever than the quabog. And with the moderate heel, especially with the 67, but I think the 55 would be similar with the bigger arches they have. It ends up being kind of screwy with the quabog because it's kind of like the heel's not tall enough, and then I don't know. I could show you on my other boots, but the arch support in the bottom, or the whatever, the shank, the leather shank, it ends up almost touching the ground over here. It's just kind of strange. It doesn't seem right. It seems like it's almost too low. Whereas this setup, again, with because Nick's moderate heel is a 3-layer, I think this thicker top lift of the V bar and of the 430 top lift and the V bar, I think it's the same thickness, works out better. Also, this is a thinner sole. I mean, for that, the differences of the 430 and V bar is it's thinner, but it's also, I think, a softer material. I think people like V bar because it's longer wearing, but I want the softer, more flexible. I like the grip of that V bar, of the 430. I mean, over V bar, and with it being thinner, that actually makes the heel a little shorter. So you really need the thicker top lift of that 430 heel cap or heel top lift or whatever to balance it out. So, one other difference. I did a soft toe. You can't really tell now when the boot's brand new and unworn like this. It almost looks the same. It's a little different. I described this in the other video I talked about it. When you have a soft 67, it's kind of more round. I would say the Celastic ends up kind of like more squared. I don't know, like a square jawed look. It looks more aggressive or something, like more like almost like a steel toe or something, like a work toe. The rounder toe of a non-Celastic looks, I don't know, kind of a little better in my opinion. So yeah, that's really the differences. Is it's from a regular Prospector, it has a different top, it has a different sole, it has a different heel, and it doesn't have Celastic. Otherwise, it's kind of a Prospector. So that's why I'm saying it's kind of like a ultimate Prospector, refined Prospector, do you want to call it. This pair is really nice. They built it really well. Something that's kind of cooler on this pair than my other one is the way they did the clicking or whatever, or maybe it's just luck, but the vamps look the same. You could see the wrinkling on the vamps looks basically identical, whereas on my other pair, they kind of look different. These have a kind of uniform, where you see the kind of wrinkles of the curve looks the same. It's not a big deal because I still think my other pair looks amazing, but it's kind of nice that they're more symmetrical, or whatever, not symmetrical, but more uniform looking. What else? Some just comments of something I'm noticing with Nick's. I don't know if it's different staff or more quality kind of stuff they're trying to do, but there's a lot of this white chalk stuff I'm seeing on my boots as of late. You see some lines there. I've seen it in a few other pairs. This one has a ton. So you can see these white chalk lines for where they're doing all the stitching, like marking spots. It's kind of interesting observation. Natural Dublin obviously is prone to getting nicked and water stained up, and these honestly look really nice. It's kind of hard, I think, for them to produce them and be careful, but you know, there's a couple little nicks, but it's not too bad. Here's more of that chalk. You can see that chalk right there and right here, and even here. This one's not as obvious as the other one. Oh, one other thing I didn't mention. Between this and a regular Prospector, I did all eyes. So the regular Prospector would have 3 speed hooks here. Brass the same, you know. But otherwise it's the same. One other thing I did notice, which my other pair had too, but it kind of made people made a stink about it on Reddit recently, is like the cracking on the, where they lasted or whatever. This definitely has a little bit of that, like my other pair of Dublins. I'm not really worried about it. My Predator Whiskey has some of it too. This is kind of like a little bit of a wrinkle. I think they have trouble, same with the 310 from Vibram. I think lasting over this big 67 toe causes problems with leather, so you see some weird wrinkling. The other pair has it, I don't really care. If it fails, I'm sure they'll, you know, if the boot ever like broke, I'm sure Nix would replace it as some type of a warranty failure, so I don't really care. This one has some of that cracking look too. But I think it's just this leather. I mean, I see they have other pairs, but I think Dublin is a little bit more sensitive to that stuff. So I'm just going to wear it. I don't really care. Like I said, my other pair has it. It's my oldest pair of Nicks. Had them over a year, and it's not like it gets worse. It's just you see like this kind of cracking along where they fold the stitch down. I think it's because it's like they pull it in to last it, and then they have to fold it and hammer it back out to then put the sole on. I think that back and forth kind of fatigues it or something. These definitely seem pretty beefy for Dublin. I don't know what the exact, I think it's 5 or 6 ounce they claim. My unsungs are definitely a thicker, I forget what they claimed on that, maybe 7 ounce. But this definitely seems as thick as my last pair. It's kind of weird because my other pair's been so worn compared to this pair that they're soft, but I think it's just from flexing. But this, I'm feeling the quarters here and they feel pretty beefy for Dublin. Obviously it's not as thick as like the work leathers, but feels pretty nice. Where are the kilties? I think they're in there. Oh, there they are. I'll pull those out and then I'm going to talk about something else, but same as the last pair. The kilties end up being really dark because they haven't been lasted at all, but you know, you flex them, you'll start to see it happen. So as they get worn, these will kind of lighten a little bit, but it is what it is. I actually kind of like the two-tone on some other boots, so I don't really care. I remember note this actually looks darker. Like this is quite dark. You can see it's a little bit lighter there, and then when you move them, it kind of you can see it kind of shows the lightness, I guess. But anyway, I remember kind of noticing the same thing with my first pair, that the kilties were a little darker. I do think these are a little darker than my original pair. I posted that video kind of at an update, and you saw I had a photo there when I first got my original pair of Natural Dublin. That was a pair made at the end of 2022. I got them, I guess, at the end of 22. They were ready to ship. They seem more like this kind of everywhere, so this is a little darker. This almost has some, I don't know, I guess it's just what Dublin looks like. I was going to say it almost looks like Natural Chrome XL, but Natural Chrome XL is more cold of a color. The Dublin's a warmer color, which is why I like it. They both have that awesome vibe, but the richer tone these have, just, I mean, look at it. They look freaking amazing. So these are my normal 11E, which on my other pairs works. I haven't put them on yet, but I assume they'll fit. And yeah, so I'm not too worried about that. I'll grab my other boots and kind of compare them so you can see kind of worn in and compared to brand new. But I wanted to actually mention something else. So this is kind of neat. So the Nix box is a little different now. Well, I guess this is because it's for a different purpose. I got this at the post office. I picked it up from my not post office, but I wondered what's up with this handle, and I was like, man, they have like a new box style. And then I remembered, oh, I had ordered some extra stuff, so it's kind of neat. Like this reminds me of those old White's boxes, White's boots, where they have a little handle like a suitcase. And then if you look there, I was like, why is it not labeled for the boot? And it kind of threw me off. And when I forgot, it was I had ordered some extra stuff. So I got a couple, let's just pull this all out. So I open it and then I see this stuff. So actually the shirts were on top. So I grabbed, hope they fit, but this is this shirt that has, I don't know, this shirt. I just like the kind of yellowish, I guess it's orangey, but mostly yellow. This shirt, if you guys remember this one, I think that's supposed to be like Nikolai. And then this one, it just seemed too cool. Sadly, I don't own my Overlander anymore. Maybe I'll have to change that and reorder one. But I just thought this kind of anatomy of the Overlander, but that's just too neat with all the nails and the screws. I thought that was super cool. And then they actually said they're made in USA, and it looks like they are. I don't know if anyone's ever done a review of the Knicks shirts, but it's an American-made brand, which was one of the reasons I got it. Made in USA. Bayside, haven't heard of them, but got the flag. This shirt should be the same, yeah, same label. So American-made shirts, they look like they'll fit. I'm typically a large, not the new, and then this is the other stuff I got. So when you get, I think when you get the inserts, you can't really pick the color, you just pick the type of leather. So I had ordered these as Wicked and Craig. The last time I got Wicked and Craig inserts from them, the same ones that I believe are in, if I think correctly, in my Overlanders, or sorry, in my Builder Pros, are a brown, some type of buck brown, I think, Wicked and Craig. These look like a burgundy. You can really tell on the bottom. It's very kind of purple. It doesn't matter because you're putting them at the bottom of the boot, but it's just an interesting observation. You know, they did the same thing on the last pair. It's like they cut one down. Maybe they use the same. No, I don't know. These almost look like they're, I don't know how they're cut, but you could tell they were cut like this. Maybe it's the same punch. They're just using twice. And that way they flip it. You can see the cut edges on the top versus the bottom. It doesn't matter. Just observation. I noticed before these are the same. Versus the kilties where they cut them both the same way. Probably because they're all the same pattern. Where the kind of cut side that's not as nice is on the bottom. So I don't know if you guys can see these. See that shine? This is the Merriam Horsebutt limited kilties they offered. I got the wallet, which I've been wearing quite a bit actually. I actually took it to, I was in for my vacation, we went to England, and I brought my Knicks wallet to England. I'll throw up a photo actually that I took over there. But these probably going to put in my black Prospectors because I've always been doing the two-tone on that pair, but I'm going to look at my other boots to see, you know, what these would look good. I mean, heck, maybe they would even work. I don't know about that. Let's see what you guys think. How does this look? With Dublin, I didn't plan to wear them with this, but maybe that would be kind of dope. I just wanted these because I really like the leather of the belt. So yeah, you get like this top part of the box, and some of you guys have maybe seen this already, but I hadn't. The shirt and the insoles were sitting on this. Can't really tell. And then inside was the boot box. Anyway, I'd never seen this box. Not to make that big of a deal. So I wondered if people thought I was doing like trickery with my the other video. I did the update on these, and then you saw the picture. This actually shows what I was trying to convey. Is look how different the color is between these. So this is the same leather. You know, obviously there's variances, so I can't say they're identical as far as the tannage. You know, every time Horween makes this stuff, it might be slightly different. And then obviously, I'm trying to get these kind of faced off here. Obviously, then each hide, you know, you cut different side. But I mean, look how huge of a transformation this stuff goes through. See how it's like yellow? I want to say, I think I said yellow in the other video. I did the update on this pair. Look at how different it is. This pair, when I got these brand new, they looked like this. The color, look at, I mean, it's crazy what the UV exposure and rubbing and wearing, whatever, you know, patina, whatever one people want to call it. Look at the huge change they go through. It's wild. And they, I mean, they look awesome like this. Like, don't get me wrong. Like this looks great, but this also looks great. So it's kind of like you get to enjoy the whole experience. And this is why I love this leather so much. It just goes from this phenomenal to this phenomenal, and you know, I don't honestly think one looks better than the other. They both look amazing. I was super excited to see these, just like when I got these pair, bought this. This was my first pair of Nicks, and it's like the same thing. It's just like a wow factor you see, and then they age and they look different, but equally wow. Still one of my favorite pairs of boots. We'll see if this pair might dethrone them because it has, you know, differences that I guess it's like the things that I liked about this pair, but I also liked about the normal Prospector, and I kind of changed things up to make it be the same. And namely, I talked about it a minute ago when I started the video, but you could see some of these differences here. Let me move these boots out of the way, and I'll kind of run through them real quick again. But I definitely prefer the single piece backstay over the two piece. Couple reasons. I like how it's like bigger. There's a few guys who I know feel the same way about this, that it seems like these are kind of smaller heel counters for whatever reason. You know, it's not a functional issue, it's just they kind of look smaller. What it seems to be is if you have a smaller foot, like these guys who have the, you know, size 8, that kind of stuff, the heel counters, I guess a similar pattern or the same maybe. They don't have like a one for every size. So in proportion to the boot, it looks bigger, but then you see Franks and other makers who even on large sizes have a really big heel counter. So clearly you could do a bigger one. I like how the single piece ends up still having a really big heel counter. It just, to me, aesthetically looks better. I don't think it's superior as like a function. It's just, I think that looks better. And then this just looks cleaner. You know, the stitching just looks really nice. How it's just this clean thing, whereas the triangles and stuff, it kind of can look weird. The pull tab, why, yes, it's functional. I think it's kind of aesthetically ugly. I do use them when I wear my pairs with them. I pull on them, obviously, but the pairs that don't, I just grab the sides, and it works just as well. And then sometimes it catches the pants. I know people complain about that. I don't have, honestly, a big problem with that, but it does happen once in a while. It's rare. I don't think that's really a reason why I would dislike them. I just don't think they look. It's shallow, but they just don't look as good. You know, the boot's just sitting there, like when they're not on your feet. This looks better. It looks cleaner without the pull tab. It really I came to a conclusion on that with my my 8-inch Predator whiskey boots that I did a video on. You've seen, possibly. I did that without the pull tab, and it just looks better. So that was one thing. You know, the Prospector comes with this, but I like that. Prospector comes with the cut top, but I prefer the roll top. I've loved the roll top on this pair. It's definitely my preference. The cut top's cool, but it's kind of, I guess, boring. And I feel like the roll top's the most comfortable. And then I talked about this again, but you could see how I kind of said like more square jawed. It's tougher looking, the Celastic on the 67, more worky, more hardcore, but the rounder, and this is going to flatten out as the vamp creases. The rounder toe, I guess, looks a little bit more tame and a little, I don't know, just like less overkill. I don't know. I'm fine with the hooks too, but when you have hooks, they kind of tear up the kilties sometimes, and I just kind of wanted to change it up again. I have one other pair that I did all eyes, so I did that again just for clean. I guess it was because I was also thinking about my 310s, and they're just eyes. I almost thought about doing a 5-inch single piece on this, but I kept the 6. Kind of feel like it's a better fit. And then as far as the soles, obviously you saw that these were leather. You know, the leather's dope and everything. It's not as durable. And I have it already. I don't need to do the same thing again. So to change it up And like I said earlier, I just prefer the 430. So again, I did 430. And then thankfully, Nix did it correctly, in my opinion, where they did it with the correct heel stack. And funny enough, if you look at them, they're actually very similar. This new pair, I feel like, would have had a lower heel if they had done the quabog. And honestly, I would have been pretty frustrated if they had done it that way. So I'm really happy they did it right. I wish there was more clarity on how you can insure, other than like calling them. But I've seen plenty of 430 builds where they've put the quabog on the back. It needs to have the 430 heel, in my opinion. So with that, it ends up being about the same height as this weird custom. I don't know. No one said why this was done. This is a ready-to-ship pair, but there's that extra little strip of leather in there, like a little triangle, and that ends up making the heel more. I don't know. It's not as tall as a classic heel, but it's not as low as a moderate, and it ends up being about the same. So you can see these are pretty much flush. Yeah, this pair's literally exactly what I hoped for. Stitching is flawless. The stitch down stitching is flawless. It's just awesome. So yeah, and the smell, obviously. The old ones, if I stick my nose down in the shaft, you can still smell that Dublin. But the new pair is just wafting Dublin smells. And it's a good smell. All right, guys. Later.